Hello, everybody out there. This is Ski with FMP, and today we're going to talk about some general handbook stuff for Age of Sigmar. We're going to talk about some mercenaries. We're even going to talk about some Warzone Houston, and if we could fit it in, we might even get a hold and discuss about contract campaigns. And then today I have two guests. Hopefully, some will be some returning guests. Hopefully in the future. And go ahead and if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, hi, I'm Daniel, out of San Antonio, one of the Sons of Slambo. Looking forward to chatting with you here and in the future, Ski.
My name's Kyle. I'm in the Houston area. I'm helping Ski out with...
Oop.
Uh-oh.
Oh, can you hear me? I'm good. My back.
A little bit.
All right. Well, my name's Kyle, and I love AOS. I'm in Houston. There we go.
It is okay. Some of us might freeze out, and they'll be back. So if anybody's in chat and wants to know, what someone said, we're not just throw it in chat and we'll answer it. Right now, A12 Neff, I'm glad you're joining us. Told you I'd start doing some more AOS stuff for you guys, so thank you. All right, so first off, let's. What do you guys want to hit on first?
I'm down to talk about General's Handbook, man.
Daniel?
Absolutely.
Thing? Okay. I'm going to take away from my glorious, mug here, and I'm going to bring up some shared screen here so we can go over it. Let's do shared screen. Let's see, where's my screen at? Let's do, make sure I get this right. There we go. Share that. Excellent.
Yep.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to scroll up to the top. And now there's a couple links that they posted for the General's Handbook. And we'll just kind of go skim through them and then kind of hit some things on there and then expectations. First thing, beautiful book right there, General's Handbook 2019.
Yep.
It's going to be great. And here, let's see, well, we're going to fit them all through right there. So we got narrative play, open play, match play. Daniel, what are you looking forward to out of these three?
In all honesty, I'm a match play player for the most part. The Sons of Slambo just recently started a narrative crew that does Path to Glories, and they're starting a 4 Warlords coming up here in a bit. Nice. So we've just started kind of leaning into the more narrative aspects of it. But I got into the hobby for tournaments because that's the kind of person I am. So match play is always going to be my jam when the new handbooks drop.
Okay.
Same for me, man. It's all about match play because even with having more narrative games where, you're building a story or telling a story, I want it balanced. I want an even game. So I like having the points in there, and match play is just where it's at for that. Gotcha.
I'm going to be doing, I'm a little bit of a 2/3 kind of guy. I'm all about the match play because I think it's great. There's other aspects of the match play that they're going to be introducing and we'll talk about a little bit later. But the narrative play, they have done such an amazing job pulling out narrative for the mortal realms of Age of Sigmar. And I think they're getting to a point where the narrative play might say it's going to overshadow match play, but I think a lot of people are going to be playing both a lot because it gives you a chance to not meta everything, but at the same time, create your own story, create your own army for that match play. Like for me, I'm going to end up running the Forbidden, what's it, Forbidden Power, Forbidden Lore, whatever.
The Stormvault campaign.
Yes, I am going to be running that down here. Trying to figure out a way if I could do it digitally, over the internet and have different stores participate per se. But that I'm excited for that. So match play too. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited.
I will say with some of the stuff that we're probably going to talk about later, they're bleeding between those two hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of narrative stuff that's making its way into match play and the other way around. I think that's a good point.
Yeah, totally. So to show everybody, they are bringing out a Warlords edition. If no one's seen it, I've got one already reserved.
Poor wallet.
Oh yeah, poor wallet. But
$75, man. Woo.
But let's talk about that though. It's $75. I missed out on the last edition.
Yeah.
$75. You get all the different stuff on cards. You get battle plans on cards. You don't have to flip through the book. You get tokens. And something new they're doing with the General's Handbook, and it's not just a Warlords edition, is they're separating the rules with the points.
The pitch battle profile, yeah. You know, I was hoping that they would be doing even more to actually change some war scrolls, you know, for some of the older things to bring them back into line. If they don't do points, who knows? They might still do that, but that pitch battle profile, like separate book, gives them an option to do that.
Yep. Yep. I think the Warlord edition is generally worth it, especially if it's your first GHB buy. It gives you the all-important 9-inch ruler that everybody should have 3 of. It gives you the markers for objectives, and it gives you the War Scroll card or the battle plan cards that are absolutely fabulous to have, especially for anybody who plans on going to multiple tournaments or playing in multiple locations.
Yeah,
it's so much easier to have the just slap it on the table and then set everything up than to dig through the book and find a place to set it and all that.
Oh, hands down. Andrew, one of our locals, he helps me running the AOS tournaments down at Atomic, which he's going to be taking over, and I'm going to be helping him after Warzone. But he's helped me out a lot with those battle plan cards because printing paper is expensive.
Yep.
And it's hard to just keep printing paper every month to lay down cards and missions and all that stuff for tournaments. And, you know, when you have a card and you just pass the card around real quick and, you know, setup's done.
Yep.
You know, it's such a great idea.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Touché. The one thing I want to hit on this, they mentioned too, the profiles will be free every year on the digital, I believe.
They said free every year?
I think that the point update.
Ooh, okay.
So that intrigues me because their app is points are tied to the Azer app, which does require a subscription.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're going to change it so that you can see the point without it,
yes,
that would make me no longer need a subscription.
Well, it depends because the subscription, I think, also gives you the battalions, artifacts. There's a lot that goes with that too, doesn't it?
No, you have to buy the books individually to get all those rules.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah.
Now you can the subscription now gives you the War Scroll, like the Army Builder, and it gives you the point values. So if they're giving away point values for free,
then what are they going to do with the app then, right?
Yeah. Now, if I could pay a $2 a month subscription to get access to all the books as they come out, all the rules, battalions, and artifacts, I'd be on that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, just to have the digital version of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something I think I think one of the videos I might be kind of portraying that, but that's what I thought they said. That's why they're splitting it into.
Yeah. Well, you know what made me think of is that they might just not be wanting to update scenarios and all that kind of stuff every year, and they don't want to have to reprint it all, and they are just going to release a pitch battle profile book at those times that they feel that they need to. They might not have to have a General's Handbook 2020 that is full of 30 match play scenarios and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got mixed feelings on the split. I think it's nice for that reason that buying a 700-page book that's 600 pages are all the same and the 100 pages are the point changes.
Exactly.
Yeah. On the flip side, because AOS currently has that big release every year, it has previously given Games Workshop the opportunity to do, we're going to update everybody's War Scrolls. Replace on every single War Scroll an instance of 6 or higher with a natural 6.
Yeah.
Right. And if they split them apart, it's going to be a little bit iffy. The chances of us seeing updates to scenarios goes down because it's not going to be tied to the point updates.
Yeah.
So I'm a little on both ends. Now, if they drop point updates to $20, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
But it's something else too, though, that I think they mentioned is, and this I never thought about, is battle plans. They don't expire.
Right.
Yeah.
Last year's General's Handbook, if there's one in there that's not in this year's, it's still a legal battle plan.
I mean, the thing that is humorous to me is there's no such thing as a legal battle plan. Like match play is you play a battle plan, and as long as you and your opponent or the tournament organizer says this is the battle plan you're playing, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So
I just want to bring that out because a lot of people focus on the new and the recent, and when you throw old stuff at them, they forget. They're like, oh wait, no, that's not in the current book. I'm like, yeah, but it's still legal. It's still a good battle plan.
Yeah. Speaking of new and shiny versus old and rusty, they called out a whole lot of factions as getting unique allegiance abilities in the General's Handbook.
Yeah, Darkling Covens, Iron Jaws, and I think it's going beyond just their allegiance abilities. I think they're going to really try to bring them up to par with like their own spell lores and all that stuff. I am betting that there will be spell lores for those big factions they talked about.
I think they confirmed that all of them were going to. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of. There's TGA rumors running around that all those different allegiances are getting prayers and spell lores.
Ooh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
So I'm excited about that.
If my War Chanters and Iron Jaws can get a prayer, they will be even better for 80 points.
And we'll hit on that. We'll come back to that. Because that's a big topic I want to hit on too. But let's hit. We're going to hit it in order.
All right.
I'm excited. Don't get me wrong, y'all.
Squirrel.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all good. And that's what's great about this. Mercenaries. Okay. Let me get to a nice, good picture because it's ogres, and I love watching ogres, a fire belly with tyrant and some man-eaters. It's great. Mercenaries. First, we saw them in the Forgotten Book with the dwarfs and the flesh eater core, and I thought that was amazing. Now, my point is, I'm an Iron Jaws player. We have no shooting. Our boys are in a very bad spot versus Fire Slayers, and in that aspect, I kind of look at how melee units are going right now. We are in a very some people say we're not in a bad spot, but I feel we are in a very difficult spot because of the fact of how the meta has grown, the power curve, the power creep. Mercenaries for me gives me an opportunity to kind of finagle that a little bit until I get an update. Or for other armies, like we'll just say one of the worst armies out there, in my opinion, Dispossessed.
Yeah.
That way you can change a little bit, like, oh man, I've got, I don't know, one of the mercenaries you want to run, and now it's not an allegiance tie down. It's like, oh cool, they're just mercenaries. I can run Flesh Shade Courts with my ogres or whatever, and thematic it, make it very themed. I think it's a great addition. I can't wait to see what some of the crazy things people are going to do with this mechanic. I think it's a very good idea to change. This is a good change, especially it drives the difference between AOS and 40K. A very big, line in the sand. So I'm all for it. I think it's going to be great.
I think it'll be good. I'm glad that they're expanding a bunch of other options, and I think it also shows that there's probably going to be a points decrease because there's one about having the giants, and you can't even fit 3 of those in 400 points for mercenaries / allies now. So I'm hoping that those drop down so I can take 3 giants in whatever army I want to. That would be great. But I think that having all those different options also gives them a good way to keep some of these super small factions like the man-eaters and firebellies in the game without having to kind of put them back into a larger book like Gloomspite Gitz did with a bunch of those other mini factions.
Yep, I'm actually a big fan of the change too. I think it's great because it means that I can play with the shiny new model without having to buy an entire army.
Yep.
Which is going to be fabulous. It's brilliant from GW because they're going to convince me to buy 400 points of an army, and then I'll buy 2,000 points of that army.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to actually impact the game that much. I think it's because it's the same slot and size as allies.
Yeah.
That most of what you can do with mercenaries, you can do with allies.
Yes.
There are some exceptions, and there are some weird niche cases where some people just don't really have any good ally options. I'm looking at you, ogres.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're going to lean on mercenaries to bring something that your army doesn't have. Like you're saying with your Iron Jaws, you can bring some organ guns to your thing. You know what you could also bring with your Iron Jaws? You could bring a frost horn.
Yes.
Right? And it basically serves the same purpose.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Now, I'm not saying that you necessarily want to.
But see, I have these models. I have the Dispossessed. I have the cannons, and I have
fabulous.
See, and there it gives you an option. It gives you an option to use what you have. This is just another way that they're trying to let you play with what you got, which is a good and a positive thing for all types of players.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, Daniel, about the balance thing, because if you can't do it with your allies, you can go to mercenaries, but you're also paying that cost because with the command point for those armies that are super competitive and starved for command points, you don't want to risk that. Like, I don't want to do that with my Slanesh army. Like, I don't want to lose a command point; they're too valuable for me.
Especially with one of the other rumors that I've heard,
which is
only one extra command point for being under cost.
Oh, maximum.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That would be a positive change.
I've heard that too.
Really, I didn't hear that at all. That's a good change. Now, did I hear somewhere? I thought I read on there that there were going to be new command abilities that all armies can use.
Yes.
So I don't know if it's been confirmed in any of the leaks so far, but one of the rumors I've read was the old triumphs that you used to be able to get.
Ooh,
we're going to be reworked into new command abilities.
Ooh, I like that idea because I'll spend that for a reroll save sometimes. That's a super smart idea.
So we'll see if that one comes out, and if it comes out in the pure form of the reroll all, or if it gets reworked to be reroll ones, or what.
Yeah.
But even reroll ones of all hits, there's a lot of armies that would be a huge game changer to be able to just grant that to a unit.
Yeah, exactly. If you got some massive unit that you don't have that ability to give it to them, that's huge.
Yep. Oh yeah, and I think I did read something about that there are going to be some new stuff like that. Which again, I get really excited when I see this stuff because the fact that I did 40K for so long and it kind of, I'm not gonna say it was stagnant, but the way they changed things didn't really, I don't think it molded well. Like it wasn't flawless. But Age of Sigmar, I feel what they're doing every time they're updating, it's actually, they fix it and they make it flow better. They fix something and make it flow better.
I will say the one nice thing about Mercenaries is that it's going to be a lot harder to be left fully behind because your last update was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can murk in somebody from the freshest book and get some of that sweet new rules. Yeah,
like I was thinking of Mega Boss on foot with bubble wrap brutes with as many Hearthguard berserkers or Hearthguard berserkers in front of the brutes with maybe a battlesmith.
Yep. Well, and I will say the thing that I think is really neat, and I'm hoping that the merc option ports over a little bit to the allies maybe in a year or two, is the fact that your mercs come with unique rules for that flavor to the faction.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're not just bringing models; you're bringing a cohesive unit.
Mm-hmm. Well, like the Necromancer one with the skeletons, telling you can get 40 skeletons and the Necromancer, and that's 390 points right now. That is a solid amount of bodies for a small price to pay. And
suddenly your Beastclaw Raider army is now competitive.
Yeah, exactly. You got a 40-man unit.
That is right. I never think about Beastclaw Raiders.
Right, like Beastclaw's rules are amazing. They just can't field models.
And that will give you the models. And that Dance Macabre is on that Necromancer's War Scroll. So you got all those attacks with the +1 to hit from being the Mercenary unit.
And regenerate D3 models every turn. Because that's on the Necromancer's War Scroll.
Exactly.
And then what's that, 40 skeletons, you get a plus to hit as well?
Number of attacks.
Oh, it's attack.
At 20, you get +1 to attack. And at 30, you get +1 to attack. So you're at 3 attacks apiece, 4 with the Mercenary benefit, right?
Mm-hmm. Or is the Mercenary benefit? I thought it was +1 to hit. It might be +1 attack. Either way.
But let's just look at it. Let's see here.
Like that to me, there are 3 merc groups that I felt like we're going to see. That's the merc groups you go to. It's going to be skeletons with the Necromancer for the armies that don't have bodies.
Yep.
It's going to be the organ guns with the gyrocopter for armies that don't have shooting. And it's going to be the men-at-arm outriders for armies that don't have deep strike.
That's true. So the Sons of Lichmaster, it's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Another attack. Yep.
It's lead Necromancer, Zombie, Skeleton Warriors, and a Corpse Cart to any army.
Oh, and that Corpse Cart's pretty big for that +1 to cast if you want it.
Well, you can't get all 40.
Yeah, there's a juggling act, right?
Yep. But that gives you options. Like that is so big in this game.
See, that'd be fun to put with the Stormcast list. Not gonna lie, that's what I would want to do it with.
See, and this is what's mind blowing. The ideas I can't wait to see.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you won't get Deathless Minions is correct. Yeah, that's tied to the Death allegiance.
Yep.
But the Resurrect ability is on the Necromancer's War Scroll. So at every hero phase, you will get D3 models back.
Yeah.
So it's not as survivable as skeletons outside of when you bring them with death normally. And we also don't know what the downside is, because that's one thing that the Forbidden Power Mercs had.
Yeah.
Is that every one of those Merc groups came with a downside where the Fire Slayers lose bravery the longer the battle goes on, and the ghouls can't retreat.
Yeah.
And so you have this twist.
I bet you it's something with the skeletons that they're going to start degrading if there's no Necromancer nearby.
Yeah, kill the Necro, and then suddenly you lose D6 every hero phase.
It would be something similar to that. I'm betting if they go with the theme, but I think that's a good point. But I just really love the idea. I think it's a good addition to the game.
And for Games Workshop, bravo, because you're going to make money. Like that is a selling market, and it's not a costly selling market. That's what for.
Yeah, it's an extra get started box.
Yeah, right. I mean, I have plenty. So what do we got next? Let's talk about mercenaries, because I know, or not mercenaries. I mean the meeting engagements. Because I think 12 nests.
I am so into this.
Okay.
Excited. A little scared though, because I was building some lists and I'm like, oh, I can still have 2 keepers of secrets in a 1,000-point list, and that's legal.
Okay.
Yes, but you won't get them both on the board at the same time.
That's true. You gotta have one in the spearhead and one in the main body.
And so it's gonna be interesting. And
it will be. I wonder how much that will actually balance it, because I'm thinking are you gonna score different points for objectives depending on if they're in the spearhead or the main body or the rear guard? Like that could have an impact on your scoring.
All right, well, so first let's go over this. So the basic idea is it's a 3-tiered engagement where you're going to bring units in groups. You're going to get your spearhead, you're going to get your main body, and you're going to get your reserves. And it looks like that it's going to be coming in at different points in time throughout the battle.
Yep.
And there's very strict restrictions on what you can bring in each one of those groups, to the point that you can't bring artillery in the first group at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can't bring behemoths in, I don't think, in that first group at all.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Nope. Because it reminds me of the old 40K, and that's what everybody's been looking at, the old 40K FOC chart, where it was always 1 HQ and 2 troops. And then
can you scroll down to the divide there?
So then that probably actually would take away the Keeper of Secrets, because if I can only have one, it says a limit of 1 behemoth, but I can't have any in the spearhead. Even though it's a leader, it also counts as a behemoth. So yeah, you can't even have the 2 keepers then.
Yeah.
Or 2 dragons, Matthew.
but
Saw him post that list immediately.
So there's already that, which is we're piecemealing your army, which means that bringing in, highly synergistic units is going to be really hard to do, because you're not going to get all your pieces on the board at the same time.
You need a lot more random balance.
Everything has to be minimum-sized units.
That's huge.
So here's my question. Iron Jones is going to win out on this, I think.
Oh, heck yeah. 5 brutes? God.
What, Mega Boss on foot? Was it a spearhead? Mega Boss on foot, 5-man unit. Oh, I can have up to 3 units. So I'd take 3 units of brutes, because they're considered outline and other.
You can only take 2 of the same war scroll.
Oh, well, the 2 brutes and a boy. But still,
which is another huge thing. You have to take minimum-sized units, and you can only take the same war scroll twice.
Yep. But then we lose out. There's
going to be some random things on here that get super good at this level with this breakout. I don't know if it's sequiturs or if it's something that's just a solid battle line that you can get for cheap. Like maybe 10 packs of witch elves are going to wreck some face.
No. What's gonna come out winning on a head is those 200-point 5-man units.
Oh yeah, like paladins. Yeah. Evocators. Ooh yeah.
Yep.
Like Blight Kings. I forget what they are in Khorne. Those guys that when they die they explode and pile in an attack. Like those semi-elite units that you don't get to take a lot of, because in a 2,000-point game you can't afford not to have those bodies. But in this one, you bring 1 war scroll of them, and they're gonna wreck shop.
Yeah, and that's gonna limit all the heavy hitters are gonna be limited, which is gonna be nice to make people go, okay, I can't take my bloodthirsters, my 3 bloodthirsters or 3 dragons and all this stuff, and now they have to figure out, okay, what are we gonna do? Which then it flesh you to court. I don't think they're going to get hit hard on this. I mean, yeah, you're not taking dragons, but between flayers, the Crypt Ghouls character.
You just have to take more of a variety.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
You're gonna have to have more variety. I think they even specifically said no battalions.
Yep, no battalions.
Which is going to be a huge shift for some of these armies that thrive because they're able to get to 2 drops because they've got great battalions.
Mm-hmm.
One endless spell. You can only have 1 allied unit.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a really awesome 4-game 1-day tournament style.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily.
Well, I think we already said that one of the guys in Houston that does the tournaments at Fat Ogre, that he's already we're doing this for July for the tournaments. He's just going to do it for that Sunday tournament and try it out.
Yep. No, I think this is the stuff that I love about the new GHB when it comes out, is they introduce these new mechanics and concepts that a TO can do if they want to. You know, and in all honesty, it wouldn't be too hard to scale this up to 2,000 points for 1 game in a 5-day, 2-day tournament for one of the GTs. Is one of the rounds is going to be following rules similar to this. Here's how you're going to deploy.
Well, and they could break it down to like they do with 40K, where you have your super ITC competitive meta army, you know, your championship. Then you could have something like the friendly Friday or the friendly, which is not usually friendly, and this could be that friendly. Like you can separate it, and then you have your narrative, and then you have your team tournament, and then you have
And that's what I was talking about with this spillover between narrative and matched play, right? Matched play is no longer just 2K points, right? There's so many things that are coming out that I'm just like, ooh, yeah, I want a tournament with that. Like I want the match play points, but I want to play a 1,000-point game with this weird Vanguard deployment where you piecemeal your army on over the course of 4 turns.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'll like to see how quick the games go, especially not having your full army on the board turn 1. Like, so I can make it go really fast or really slow. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, 1,000-point games already are under an hour usually. Like, how much shorter is it going to be if turn 1 is literally you have 2 units on the board?
Move, done.
Right.
Or someone's going to start a game with 0 units on a board because they're going to choose that. They can choose to have no models in their spearhead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's super exciting.
And then there's the battle plan. Like that's it.
Simple.
Yep. I mean, it doesn't get easier than that, right?
Hey, so there was something else on the General's Handbook that we didn't talk about in the picture of the Warlord, is they had the Arcane Objective cards, and we just heard about those today.
Yeah.
Where it's in a different article from the one he has pulled up.
Yeah, it's the next article, actually. Good segue.
Oh my God. This brings me back to my love from Warhammer Fantasy, when there was some sort of weird objective that did something to you. And these Arcane Objectives, when you hold this objective, you either get healed every hero phase, or you take D3 mortals as soon as you hold it. Like, I think that is a great flavor to add to the game.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the tournament plays where you get a match that says, hey, you have a home objective, let's battle for the pass or whatever it is, where you've got that one backfield objective, and you say, hey, which Arcane objective is yours? Yep. You the general get to pick what Arcane objective you have. You want something that gives you a buff, you want something that's going to hurt your opponent if they take it from you. You know, you get to pick.
Yeah. Yep. Dude, I really want to see them with hidden Arcane Objectives, where you pull a random card and you put it face down
and then flip it over when you claim it.
As soon as you hear it, or as soon as you control it, you don't even know at deployment. As soon as you control it, then you turn it over.
Well, you know, that's 40K. That's old Maelstrom, I think, or.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Did they do stuff like that?
Yeah, because there was one where it was a sabotage. Every time you roll 1, you took X amount of damage or something like that.
You know, of Warhammer Fantasy, because one of my like favorite memories was from a tournament in Lone Wolf for Warhammer Fantasy, where we had a scenario that was called just Ebola scare. And so as soon as you picked up an objective, you rolled, and on a 1 it was Ebola, so your unit lost models, and then if you touched anyone else, that unit lost models.
Ebola. Ay.
Good point, Neef. Yeah, so I guess Spearhead does have to have 1 model, so you can never have a game where you have nobody on the board on turn 1.
Oh, I didn't see that. Did it say that? I didn't see.
But no, this kind of stuff I think is super neat. It's going to open up a lot of opportunities to make these old battle plans that we've been playing for 2, 3, 4, 5 years a little bit fresher.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see this play more than terrain rules because it's a little bit more limited.
Yeah.
In how much you have to remember, especially if you have cards that tell you everything that you can just drop on an objective and it's sitting on the board when you claim it.
Exactly.
Right. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. I think it's gonna be great for Friday Fun Nights, and it's gonna be amazing to see how the different TOs include these neat elements to add a little bit of flavor and flair to competitive tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, we've already seen that realms do get used in competitive tournaments and cause all kinds of chaos because a list that could be a hardcore winner with no realms might suddenly find themselves struggling in a game where they didn't plan for one of the realm spells.
Yep,
that comes out.
Exactly. Infernal Blades.
Infernal Blades. Yeah, if you're not ready for it.
Well, and they used it in LVO. They're using the realm rules as well. And it's great, but man, there's one downside to all this.
What?
It's getting too much upkeep like 40K used to be. Whereas like I need this book, this book, this spell, this spell, this book, this book, this book, this book. I'm like, okay, how much do I need to remember? Like, I have poor memory, so that's just on me. But in the beginning, it was a little bit more mainstream. Now it's the barrier to entry has gone up significantly since I started. So I actually started with AOS. I didn't play Fantasy Battle. I joined this hobby 2 years ago, back before 2.0 dropped. And when I started playing, it was super straightforward and simple.
Yep.
And then 2.0 dropped, and it got a little bit more complicated. And then Malign Sorcery dropped, and it got a little bit more complicated. And now this is coming, and it's getting a little bit more complicated. And I have noticed when we do our teaching games, there's a lot more of, oh, and by the way.
Yeah. Oh, and you can do this. Oh, you can do this. Or you can have one of these. Yeah.
Yep.
And like versus when I first learned, it was like, here's your War Scrolls, go.
Yeah. Crazy. So I mean, I think, but what they're doing is they're trying to get everything together, and then I think they'll mainstream it, condense it. I really feel a lot of things that we get is a teaching plan, is like a test run.
I definitely do think they're throwing wet noodles at the wall to see what sticks.
Yep.
And that we're going to see them in a year or two release some kind of codex that's like, here's the rules you need to know to play the game. It's going to have all the realm rules in it. It's going to have the terrain rules. Like, it's just going to be here's what you need, this book and your codex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they could do that with the General's Handbook. That could be what goes into there, is all those things, or the pitch battle profile thing, Yeah,
I mean, they're not going to do it now because they're still selling Malign Sorcery, and they don't want to stop. But in a year when they retire Malign Sorcery, they'll put the rules someplace else and keep going.
Yep. Well, next, I'm going to bring up a picture. And Daniel, you get first go on this one.
All right.
Let's see here. Yeah.
All right. Well, so with all of my experience in 2 years of playing Warhammer, I got to agree. That looks like an orc weapon.
Yeah,
now, whether that is an AOS fantasy orc weapon, or that is some kind of choppa for 40K, I don't know. The nails and such make me lean towards fantasy, and it'd be fabulous. Destruction needs more love, and I really want an Ogre Kingdom book that comes with all of that. But a new Iron Jaws book would also be nice.
Yeah.
I will say that because Iron Jaws was specifically called out as a faction that was getting an update in GHB, I don't think we'll see it in the next 6 months.
Well, I'm going to caveat that real quick for like Kyle out in his bag right here. If you remember last General's Handbook, they put Flesh Eater Court and they put Skaven in that General's Handbook.
And Beasts of Chaos and Slanesh and Fire Slayers.
Yeah, I was getting there. Yeah, you're right. Well, and Iron Jaws.
Yeah.
And other ones. Well,
and how many of those were released before December?
Yeah. I mean, Beasts of Chaos was in like August, September. I mean, it came out like 2 months.
Well, I'll leave with that because I'll say something after Kyle talks about this, because I watched some Twitch today on Warhammer TV, and I will talk about that, about some possible things coming.
Okay, so I am super hopeful that it's Iron Jaws, but James West actually posted a few pictures of sort of Gargants that have, or the Gargant hacker or whatever, from some of the Beast Claw guys, and it looks super similar to that too. So I think it's Iron Jaws or like Gutbusters or Ogre type battle tome, but I'm hoping it's Iron Jaws.
Oh yeah, me too. Like hands down.
What'd you see on the Twitch? What'd they talk about?
Okay, so I watched today. Let me go here. Let me stop this real quick. Stop sharing. There we go. Okay, so today I watched Gavin Throp and Phil Kelly. They played a game today on Twitch, and it was Fireslayers versus Iron Jaws. But before that, they were talking to let's say it was Phil Kelly with his Iron Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of the Twitch, I'm just talking about before they start showing their army. The caster, I think, slipped about saying that there is some new models coming out, the way he presented it, because he was talking about models, and he went to say something like, you haven't got this yet, or so, like there was that weird, quick, I almost said something.
You almost said it and almost got fired? Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Now, I could be overthinking it, but it was really, it was interesting how he said it at the beginning. And I'm like, tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well, and the thing to remember too is the rumor engine has a multi-month lead-up time period.
Oh yeah.
Like we don't see a rumor engine and that's the next announcement. We see a rumor engine and then a year or two later, we see what it was actually referring to.
Cool, this is happening in August. No, this is happening in a year, up to a year.
Right. And one thing with the Twitch, I've noticed. Now, I'm not gonna say it's a coincidence, but it's maybe it is. I don't know. Is a lot of stuff that they stream on Twitch for the Warhammer TV is usually they're showcasing stuff, which they've already showcased as dwarfs and the White Dwarf. I mean, as orcs. They've already seen them.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole orc day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, we got General's Handbook, we've got Rumorville, we've got orcs. I just have a sneaky feeling destruction.
Great.
I'm going to say destruction because I no matter who it is, I want somebody in destruction to get some love.
I'm with you on that. I would love it. I would love it if our next army release, I want destruction. I want them to finally get over themselves and release the wing elves, whatever they end up being, so that I can stop hearing people talk about it.
Well, so I mean, I don't know if anybody's read the book for the new Forbidden Lore stuff, the Forbidden Power. And I think I talked this on our live stream for the FMP live stream, but it's kind of boring talking to myself about AOS when I have no one else to talk about AOS. But Teclis and Tyrion are freaking pissed off right now at Sigmar. And I'm talking straight up.
The Storm Vaults, right?
What's that?
Because of the Storm Vault?
Not because of the Storm Vaults. It's because of the engine. The engine was created by Sigmar using their tech.
Oh, okay.
Teclis presented Sigmar with something. Sigmar used that something to make these engines.
Well, so that leads me to a really interesting conversation that I had with the Sons. I don't know if you saw this, but in the Hedonites of Slaanesh Handbook, their rule specifies Chaos Slaanesh.
Yes.
It does not say models with the Slaanesh keyword. It says models with the Chaos keyword and the Slaanesh keyword.
Yes. Even though I think that might be a minor thing about it, there is a high chance that we're going to have a Mortal Order Slaanesh army.
I'm just saying, when those elves come out of Slaanesh's stomach.
Mm-hmm. Cult of Slaanesh, man, they're coming back. I mean, I played Cult of Slaanesh in 6th edition fantasy. If they bring that back, I am going to be broke.
Yeah,
we're missing, what is it, 2 different gods of the elves that still haven't gotten their armies yet?
Yep.
Yeah, well, technically 3. If Tyrion and Teclis, and then Malarion hasn't gotten his stuff yet. But the thing is, the Cult of Slaanesh in the lore, and they can obviously change this kind of with the addition of that. It was all Marathi before, and now Marathi's kind of drifted over to the Kane side, kind of impersonating for him. But I think they could do the Cult of Slaanesh. I really don't know if it'll be Order. That's kind of leaping it, or jumping pretty far. But I think that they have an opportunity to do mortal Slanesh or mortal cult armies or something like that within either order or chaos.
Or destruction even.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, that's speculation runs rampant.
Man,
right?
we're throwing some curveballs, and we're like gotten out of left field right now. I don't know what we're talking about.
But you know what's and I enjoy this because the fact that in 40K we know the lore. For the most part, 40K is this is what was going on here. See, this is how it is at this point. This and then the universe is so huge that they could do anything you want, but then it's like, okay, whatever. Like I hate to say it, but it's like, okay, cool. Age of Sigmar, we have so much story still developing. You know, with Slanesh being captured, with them pulling out elves, Teclis and Tyrion pissed off at Sigmar. Would that cause them to release Slanesh to get back at Sigmar? Like, there's so many curveballs that we don't know because they're working on the story as we go now, which is amazing.
Well, I think that they said in the Forbidden Power book or somewhere in there that Sigmar asks Teclis if they are going to release the elves, and Teclis says no. It's like, oh, dang it, no elf book soon.
But see, that was before they saw Sigmar doing what he was doing.
Oh, that was before that. Okay, see, yeah, I got to read it, man. Get caught up.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen? We got all kinds of options. There's a ton of factions that have been briefly mentioned. Some of the ones that kind of highlight to me, we have a Squig pirate armada. There's the goblin sky pirates that are mentioned in the KO books, and in there was another book that came out recently that they mentioned it. That's who the KO fight all the time.
It's in the Gitz book.
Yeah, in the Gitz book. We have a clan Eshin that vanished. Like that's just mentioned. There was this mighty clan Eshin, and they haven't been seen in forever.
Yep.
There was a clan Scryer that built, I forget what it is that they built, and then no one heard from them again.
It's very Skaven-y, though.
Like it was some kind of teleportation device, and then nobody ever heard from them again. So who knows what that is?
They're the new genes to the cults of 40K. That's what.
There you go. Yeah, no. If they introduce Skaven in 40K, I might actually play that game.
Well, and then I go back to the Forbidden Lore because it's a recent book. They talk about the free people are in there. They talk about the war priests, the conclaves of war priests, which everybody's like, people are gone. Like, so I'm going to state this. If that doesn't happen, you can shoot me or whatever you want. I don't even care. 2 armies that are gone, Bretonnians and Tomb Kings. They are gone.
Yep.
They're never coming back. If they bring it back, it'd be like a.
Well, Bretonnian's back though, but they're flesh eaters.
Well, okay, yeah, that doesn't count. Well, it does, but it doesn't.
Sorry, that's an old joke. I know. Sorry.
But I've read their book. I read their battle tome, and it is that way. Like that's.
Yes. That's true, but no, Bretonnians and Tomb Kings are gone. Unfortunately, as much as we love them, they're just out.
So you have your wardens, you have your oh my god, your white lions, you've got your free people, you got your the war priests, you've got high elves.
Yeah. We have the makings of an Empire of Man book.
Yes.
Defenders of the Realm.
Defenders of Civilization, something along those lines.
Yeah.
So in the Gore-Trex audio drama Realm Slayer, they talk about free people. They talk about all that. They're still there. The Forbidden Lore Power book, or I call it Forbidden Lore, but whatever. They're in there. So they're not gone. So people are like, oh, when are we going to get the new models or a new army? It probably won't be exactly the old army. It'll be something new or something.
I see a Beast of Chaos release in Order's future.
No, yeah, and I think it would be amazing. But they're not gone. I just want to put it out there. They're not gone.
No, we also have, and I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I prefer it that way. We have the Dothraki Chaos Clan.
Yep.
No, I need my horse people. Give me my Khaleesi, please.
Yeah.
But we have that. We have the Marauder style, Slaves to Darkness book, which is another soup book that's coming in the future, by the way. Everchosen, Slaves to Darkness, and the Marauders.
I think that's the next one coming for Chaos this year, because they said there'll be one more for each Grand Alliance.
And that book is going to probably, I have a sneaky feeling it'll probably be released sometime with Warcry.
Oh, I bet you're right.
Yep.
If those models will go along with it, great.
Oh, 100%.
I want
all going to be little units.
I want an Ogre Kingdom book. I don't care what they call it, but give me fire eaters, give me ogres, give me beast claw raiders, give me all those big muscular men in little to no clothing, and I will be happy.
Oh yeah, I just what I want them to do, and I don't want to ruin it, but I want Stormcast to get some new models, not because of they get everything, but I want them to portray the models that they get from different armies. For instance,
like what, Stormcast elves?
Well, yeah, or the Chaos. That one of his #1 champions is the Plague Lord that he took and converted. I want to see a model that kind of represents that.
That'd be really cool. Whatever it would be, redeemed. That would be a really cool unit to have. Is X Chaos worshippers.
Oh yeah. So in the Forbidden Lore book, if everybody didn't know, the Stormcast that are in black armor, and they have the purple or pinkish purple like tints to the wings and all that stuff. That army was specifically taken from Nagash's force.
Okay.
So that is a army that is from Nagash. Like that's where they came from. And they serve where he's at. Like they serve where they're at. That's where they're at. I don't want to ruin it all, but I read that. I'm like, I might start a Stormcast army because I think that the representation of something is great because it's not the norm, but then show it on the model, not the paint job. So.
Oh yeah, and one of my favorite call-outs that happened in the lore, there was a beautiful Skaven Scryer conversion last year of KO, where they took the KO boats and then they attached a bunch of the Clan Scryer war machines to those boats and then painted them up beautifully. And they called them out as existing as a clan of space or sky pirates in the Skaven book. And I'm pretty sure that was just a reference to that army. It'd be great if it ended up being released as a new faction. Probably not. But talking about call-outs where they talk about a unique take on things. And that was legitimately in the book. They were like, yeah, they scavenged old KO boats, and that was how the army, got their stuff.
Yep.
So,
and then like today, Phil Kelly was talking about the realm of metal is the most technological advanced realm. So like if you're going to see pistons and machine creatures and anything that you won't see anywhere else. So he was saying that realm is the pinnacle of technology, even though it's the way it is. And there's this big ass tower made out of metal where there's thousands and thousands of grots and gloomspite and it's ran by destruction as well as like the iron jaws. The way that they do their armor stuff, it's not like they form it with a hammer. They punch it and headbutt it to form it onto their bodies, and they use it from the trashes of the mountain, or recycling. This is recycling.
Yeah,
but that's cool because then
that's why they're called greenskins.
Yeah. but I could see the Skaven. I could see everybody going, "Oh my God, the technology is getting out of hand there." Between Skaven, we'll just say iron jaws, grots, KO, like that would be a very good focal point to go. Oh, we need to do something about this because it's gonna get out of hand. But that's
all right. So what I'm hearing is you're suggesting the next big arc for next year there is going to be a fight over the realm of metal.
Be
pretty cool.
And they're gonna get their pirate ships. There you go.
That'd be cool.
So we talked about that with Mercenary, John's Handbook, some of the lore stuff.
Let's go to Warzone, man.
Yeah, Warzone.
Or contrast paints.
Let's do Warzone first.
Okay. All right, Warzone. For everybody that's joining us, I just want to throw this out. Kyle here and myself running the Age of Sigmar Warzone here in Houston. And I want to put this out there today. Kyle is the face of Warzone. He deserves all the credit. He has been amazing. He's put the packets together. He's been working on the missions. He's been emailing. Like, he's been the social media guy for Warzone.
Thank you.
I've been behind the scenes doing terrain, help getting support, this, that, like behind the scenes. But this is Kyle's show. I have a vision.
It's together, man.
Well, I know, but I have a vision, and you've exceeded it. So I want to give you a prop live.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Man.
You are AOS Houston. I
thank you.
So with that being said, it's gonna be amazing. I think we have 5 tickets left, maybe.
I think there's only 5 left. I was just checking it today. Yeah, so
well done, gentlemen. Well done.
Yeah, all the packs are printed, and this is the first actual big major tournament for Texas, for the Texas Masters, because, you know, the Heat things ended up going under max players, and so they didn't reach the cap for 40 for what we need. So this will be the first one where people can get 100 points.
First of 3.
And something today when I went and tested out those contrast paints to get like a feel for it, the people that approached me were excited that we have this in Houston. Like they've gone to DEF CON, they're like, oh my God, there's finally an AOS in Houston. So it's good. It's a good thing.
Oh yeah. So, you know, something I wanted to talk about when we were like planning for this thing is, you know, the missions and stuff, you know, because with talking with people about missions and balance and AOS, you know, I think we think it's really important for there to be like secondary and tertiary objectives, because sometimes they're just, you know, you make one move or the you know, a battle does or a combat doesn't go your way, and the major part of it, the big major victory or minor victory, is kind of lost on you. You know, so instead of just having, all right, well, I'm going to give up now, even though it's only been 45 minutes, we've got the secondary and tertiary objectives so people can go for something else and still get points.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, I have 2 kind of big things that I think of when it comes to setting up as a TO. And one is when I set up my scenarios, I want my scenarios to be as widespread for what kind of armies will be good at them. Yep. So have a scenario that's focused on heroes, have a scenario that rewards having a lot of bodies, and have a scenario that rewards having, you know, some big beefy, you know, units. And somehow, you know, if you've got those 3, then you have a little bit of variance. So somebody with a more balanced army might fare better than somebody who brings a one-trick pony. That's one. And then 2 is if you've got more than whatever 2 to the number of round powers, you know, contestants, you need to make sure you have more than just major victories to determine your winner when it comes to who's the best general.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you've got, you know, 3 rounds, that's 16 players. So if you have a 20-player tournament, well, you're going to have probably 2 people that go undefeated. So what do you do?
So what are you going to do? Yeah. You know, I think that's a good point about having the balance of scenarios, because when we first started looking at this, it was really like, okay, looking at all the scenarios, we kind of grouped them up into, you know, some of those scenarios that are really like wildly unbalanced or based on a dice roll, like shifting objectives, scorched earth, relocation orb. Those are all scenarios that a roll of a die has a huge impact on the actual outcome. And I would prefer not to have those in tournaments. But then there are other scenarios where you can frequently get those ties, like duality of death, knife to the heart, you know, is usually coming to end up in a minor. So then that kind of leaves you with some of the other scenarios where you have the more balanced ones where your generalship, I guess, and then some of your dice rolls has an impact, but not a single dice roll.
Speaking of which, there's an amazing battle plan in the Forbidden Power book. It's
really
okay. 6 objectives, and starting at the beginning of the second turn, whoever is going second picks 1 objective to remove from the board.
Yep. Ooh, that's interesting. Whoever's going second, that's a cool one.
So I actually really like that as a 6 objective scenario, and it made for a very interesting game when we played it.
Yeah,
suddenly your entire army doesn't matter because the objective they were protecting is gone.
Oh.
And it was like, well, I really want this double turn because I'm pretty sure I can table that half of his force. Okay, well, I'm going to remove this objective. Okay, well, now I don't want to table that half of his force.
Yeah, because it's useless. Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome.
So that's a scenario I'm hoping to see some tournament play in the future. It was a pretty spectacular addition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for missions, you know, a lot of people, you know, going into the types of mission, I'm going to go into the release of the missions. Again, they're not going to be out until the week of. So that Monday of Wars leading up to Warzone, we will release the missions on the website. That way, all army lists are turned in. That way, everybody is on even playing fields. And yeah, I think it's better that way. It gives everybody that equalness, in my opinion. You know,
I'll agree to disagree with you on that one. I think list building is as much a part of being a general as list playing.
Yes.
And I think saying, you got a week after the scenarios are released to build your list, to give people a chance to tweak what they're bringing, that'll give them a more favorable position in the tournament. Because I'll tell you what, if I went to a 5-game tournament that didn't release their missions, and I brought my current Skaven list, which contains 3 heroes that have 6 wounds or less, and they had 3 scenarios that required heroes to control objectives, I'd be pretty bummed.
Yeah. I can see that. You know, we're gonna that's good feedback. You know, it's all about finding out kind of what the community is feeling like.
Now, if it's a balanced tournament pack, may not matter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that that's going to happen for Warzone, and I think there's something to be said for this approach as well, right? Like, no, you're going to bring your army and you're going to play what we throw at you, and you're going to deal with it, right?
Good luck,
right? And you go into it knowing that, and with people who I trust to be fair and understand the competitive scene, I can deal with that. And having talked with Ski at the tournament we went to in Austin together, I feel like he knows what's going on with what people want to play. I wouldn't be too worried about it. And I bring something that I'm going to have fun with and is fairly competitive and hope for the best. And then cry when Duality of Death shows up because I have nothing that can hold an objective for longer than
that. And then he's gonna be like, Judge, and then I'm gonna run out the door to the 40K side as he's running around looking for me. I see it now. I see it now.
And unfortunately, due to personal stuff going on that week, I won't be able to come out to Warzone. It's the one Masters tournament I'm going to have to miss.
Ah, man.
Yeah, no, I'm sad. I do have the tournament list I would take if you guys want to talk about it.
Yeah, man, talk it through. We'll throw it out there. Talk us through it.
Yeah. So I my current tournament list that I'm play testing right now. So I play Skaven. For anybody who doesn't know, I started playing them right before the book came out. I said, you know what, I'm going to give Mixed Skaven a chance, and I put together an army, and then the next week they announced the Skaven Battle Tome.
Nice.
So I don't know if I bandwagoned or not, but it accidentally bandwagoned.
He had an inside source. He's not telling us that. He's like,
yeah, that's what that was.
Yeah. But so my current list, I love Scryer. I think Scryer is the best thing that's ever happened to AOS. Way too much fun to play. They're so random that it's every game is unique and enjoyable. And so I decided to do that, and then I love the Doom Wheel model.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So my 2,000 point list has 3 Doom Wheels in it.
Nice.
You know, I think I'm gonna go and take a break outside after the pain that you gave me with that army. Oh my god.
Yeah. No. I did drop the Warp Lightning cannons.
Okay.
They're super effective. Don't get me wrong, but they're expensive.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing 12 Jezzails.
Oh, nice.
3 Doom Wheels, and then 100 Clan Rats.
Ooh.
And then the Clan Rats are so when I make a list, my philosophy is I need a couple of things. So one, I need something to hold what I don't want to get to my squishy stuff in place. I need some kind of tar pit. Clan Rats work at that fairly well.
Yep.
So I've got 2 units of 40 and a unit of 20 Clan Rats. And the unit of 20 Clan Rats is my second thing. I need to be able to block Deep Strike. So I need something that I can have in my backfield that's not too expensive, that I can just leave for 2 of the 5 rounds of the game to keep Deep Strike from just ruining my day.
Yep.
Because there are enough armies out there, I'm looking at you, Nighthaunt, that if you don't have something in place, you're gonna be completely out of position and just get rolled over. And then the third thing is I feel like you need 3 solid threats that your opponent has to respond to, or they'll lose. And so I have a unit of 6 Jezzails, I have a unit of 6 Jezzails, and I have 3 Doom Wheels.
Nice. Gosh.
Now wait, can I ask the Doom Wheels? Did you take that after? Like you decided those after our game? We're like, man, these are really effective.
So that tournament was the first time I played the Doom Wheels.
Nice.
And I loved the models, and I think the rules are really cool. And so for anybody who doesn't know, Doom Wheels have completely random move speed, 46 move speed.
Yeah.
They have a rule that says if you don't like the roll, you can re-roll it. But if you do that and you roll a 1, your opponent gets to move the Doom Wheel instead. They have a rule that they can roll over models that have 3 wounds or less as if they can fly, and they squish them.
Do
When
damage.
you shoot, you can do double the shots, but if you roll a double, because you roll D6 shots, so 2D6 to push it, but if you roll a double, the Doom Wheel takes 2D6 mortal wounds.
Yep.
right? Like, and that's Skaven in a nutshell. Like,
Sounds
you've
about
got
right.
so many things where you're just like, well, I could do the normal thing, or I could kill myself.
But you charge it always.
Oh, always. That was what I came to play. That was one of the things that I came out of the tournament with. Is that so? It's a 1 in 6 chance every time, and if your Doom Wheel's close enough to shoot, it's close enough to get charged on your opponent's turn. So it's probably dead anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Might as
well overcharge it.
Do you die before you do the shots, or do you die?
So that's the thing that changed with their book that I'm super thrilled with, is you now die after the shot.
Nice. Okay, good.
So now you always get the reward, and sometimes you pay the price.
Yeah. Okay.
But even then, the reward is like, cool, I'm going to run up this Doom Well. I'm going to just use my Brutes as an example. Brutes are nasty because they have that reroll. But if you throw your Doom Well up there and go, blah, 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 oh, I got 1 Brute left, I'm probably going to lose in the Battle Shock. And if I don't, for some crazy reason, it's just 1 Brute.
Yeah. What's he going to
do? So far, my favorite story is we're doing the Stormvault campaign, and I'm playing my Skaven army. And so I played against Seraphon, and I lost badly because I don't have bodies in my Skaven army that I played before, because I was playing all the elite Skaven, and I was having fun. But no bodies, can't claim objectives. But I did 1 turn shoot out his Engine of the Gods.
Yes. Nice.
That's a victory.
And awesome. The God with an ethereal amulet.
Nice.
I dealt 17 wounds with 1 Doom Wheel.
That's awesome.
Any good story against Seraphon right now, I love. Just because I'm not saying I hate Seraphon, but I think for a old army, they are still top tier army without a new book, and it's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, see what else we got here. So we got that Warzone. What else we got doing for Warzone? We got so we've got the tournament. We've got what, best general,
best overall, best general, best sports, and best paint. Right.
Best overall, best sports, best paint.
Okay.
And I believe we're doing faction as well. Now, I'm not saying like specific faction. I'm saying destruction, death, order.
Best in Grand Alliance?
Yes, I think. We'll
personally, I'm a big fan of that one. I think that one's a fun thing to add in to help give somebody something to shoot for if they lose game 1.
We are not doing a wooden spoon. So people that are going to try to just lose all their games, not getting anything out of it, unfortunately.
I think it'll be good though. I'm from the list that we've gotten so far that I've reviewed, I'm a little concerned that it's going to be a bring the filth event where everyone's bringing the absolute hardest they can bring. So I mean, it's only been 3 out of the 45, but we'll see.
I mean, Kyle, it's a GT.
I know.
This is the one time that I'm allowed to bring my mean list and not feel bad.
Yeah.
But there is a big part of sports votes, though. So you got to have a mean list that you can also be nice with. You know, I guess you got to buy a beer for every terrorgeist you bring.
That's the way it works. Is I hand my opponent 3 shots and they look at me like, what? And I'm like, I need you to drink those so you'll like me in 45 minutes.
So something too is I want to hit on painting because so with Atomic, I want to hit this first. When I run my tournaments, I treat all 3 parts of the hobby equally. And some people agree, disagree, and that's fine. You're not going to please everybody. But I look at this as a community of an overall game of fun, enjoyment, artistic skills, battle plan. It's so much more than just little dudes doing their thing and trying to win it at all costs. I think there's more to it. Okay, the lore and everything like that. So for Atomic, when I run my tournaments, we have first place, best sportsman, best painted, because I feel they are all equal and they all get equal price. You know, and so you say you can't play, you're not a very good tactical player, but you're a good painter. You have an opportunity. If you're just a fun player to play, and we get those all the time at Atomic, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's mostly everybody's that way anyway, so it's hard to even get that. But you come out ahead. You do have your meta players. They're there to just do what they know and do best at, and that's fine. I have no problem with any of those, but I treat them all equally.
Yeah, that's actually a fundamental the Sons of Slambo mentality. Is that the hobby is not just the war game.
Yep.
The hobby is painting. The hobby is the brotherhood. The hobby is the game. And so Dan Norris, he's the guy who introduced me into being a TO. And so I learned from him and took off on his idea, which we generally run 3-day tournaments. And so we say, well, or 3-game tournaments, not 3-day tournaments.
You guys are say what?
Yeah, no, we run 3-game tournaments. So what we say is we want to reward the people that do well on that day at the store. Absolutely. We give a prize for the person who brings the best painted army. We give a prize for the person who was the best sport. We give a prize for the person who won the most games. And then we have our overall, where we treat best sports as a game. And we treat best painted as a game. So there's actually 5 games on that day that you're playing in for the overall prize. So you play 3 matches, you play how good of a sport were you, and you play how well painted was your army. And those 5 games together determine your overall score.
Perfect.
Interesting. See, and that's good. The more we do this as a community, the more the community will grow with it.
Yeah.
And what we want to avoid is forcing somebody who wants to come out to experience the brotherhood and the enjoyment of the hobby to have to sit through a game with somebody who's only there to kick people's teeth in.
Yep.
They brought a list they found online that wins 100% of their games.
Yeah.
They went out and they bought it and they glued it together yesterday. They brought it in, they're going to play it today, and then they're going to sell it online tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like that person doesn't need to be
part of our community.
No.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I was just listening to a podcast with a Rolling Bad podcast, and they talked about like the 6 pillars of the hobby, and one of them was socializing. And I think that's a big point, like you said, with the brotherhood. Like, this is a great way for all of us who have such a unique and common hobby that we all love to spend some time together in person, or even just talking like right now with us. Like, this is a socializing aspect that a lot of other games or hobbies or things that you do, you don't have that part of it. You know, I think that's one of the best parts of Age of Sigmar, specifically our community, with how welcoming we are of new people, and, you know, trying to grow the hobby and make it a better place for every type of player.
Yep, absolutely. And right now our local community is talking about trying to figure out a day of the week that we can set aside to do family lunches. So it's not just the guys that play get to hang out. It's everybody bring whoever you want. You know, you can bring your brother, you can bring your significant other, you can bring your kids. We're going to go meet at this restaurant, eat lunch, and just hang out, meet each other's families, and just spend an hour or 2 together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, and that's where I think I was going with this with Warzone. We're kind of treating that in the same way. I mean, it's still GT, but like, you know, one of the awards for the painted part, you know, I'm trying to, you know, I don't think people realize, but I have 2, you know, for AOS, I have a set of monument paints for first place for their best painted army.
Nice.
And that's,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, but see,
you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, and it's you know, I want to do something that mimics painting. Like, they spent the time, and not no matter what level, I want to put this at, what level you paint at. If it's I go by tiers. If it's a level 1 to level 5 tier, you're anywhere in there, does not mean that you do not have a chance. I want to see it out there.
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting one that I'd love to talk with you guys about, since you're putting together GT and all that. We go back and forth a lot about how to score for best painted. What's the best way to really do that? Because you can do something like local tournaments do, where you have a panel of judges that walk around the room and look at all of the armies and say that one, right? Yeah. And it's very subjective, and it's very much dependent upon who happens to be the judge that day. You can go completely the opposite direction to, like, I think not LVO, Adepticon. I don't know what LVO does because I haven't heard it, but Adepticon, where you have a checklist.
Yep.
This is worth 1 point. This is worth 2 points. This is worth 3 points, etc. And somebody can just go down the checklist and say, "Do I have this? No. How can I put this in my army?"
Yep.
Well, I feel the best way to do it is a checklist, but it's not just the checklist. And it's when you have this is just I'm going to spitball here in a second. So if you have Age of Sigmar people, say you have a GT and you have Age of Sigmar and 40K going on, painting judging usually happens around the same time, usually for both of them. You take your 40K army, your 40K judges, and you have them go grade the AOS armies. You have the AOS judges go grade the 40K armies. This is just something to think about. Then your way of looking at things change. Everybody, it's about the painted, no longer about the person. And the judge part kind of gets thrown out the window. But that's for the first day. Then you do your little point breakup, see who are the top 10 armies. Then the Age of Sigmar guys have that chance to go look at those armies on day 2 and determine out of the 10, okay, what do we see?
Yeah.
Because it changes everything. And I'm not tooting my own horn being retired military. I'm not biased. I don't care. I mean, Kyle's stuff, I've looked at so many of our people's armies during atomic tournaments or other tournaments, and it's hard to judge other people's armies, but at the same time, I am working at painting and I know techniques. I'm not like a golden demon or anything, but I can visually look at armies and I know what I'm looking for because of the check sheet. And you have to know what's on the check sheet. You got to know what it means. That's like the biggest thing is going, okay, shades, highlights, customization. Like you got to really understand what they're asking and what levels they mean. And that's where I feel judges sometimes don't understand, even with the checklist. They don't know the severity. So that's where that bias comes in. We're like, oh, I think it's this. Whose army is this again? Oh, okay. It's good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. I look at it. Boston, when we had the little 3 things and we had to go around and drop them in all the armies, I went to each one and I looked at them. And I went from this distance to this distance. And if I can see, if it changes drastically from here to here, to me, there's an issue. And then I have to look at why is it doing that? What's the issue? Look at, I just the way I break it down. Because a lot of armies are good. When you look at it from way back here, oh my God, that looks so good. Then you look closer and you're like, wow, look at all those brush strokes and detail problems and then vice versa. You go back and you're like, oh my God, that army looks like crap. But then you come up and look at it like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So it really comes down to, I believe, a check sheet and the judge with experience. Sorry.
Yeah, I think this is where kind of my work comes in with like the rubric based kind of grading, where these categories and like this is what you're looking at, this is what this will get you this kind of much or this many points. But I think the big reason of why I like that instead of like, oh, whoever gets best painted gets this many points, is that you're giving the people that put in effort and got maybe second or third or fourth are still getting some sort of benefit about it. Yeah. Because you don't want only the best player to get points for painting. You want every player to get points for painting to the level that they hopefully worked for, so that you don't have someone that really tried but just doesn't have the experience to get 0 points because they haven't been doing it for years like us. It's kind of like another barrier of entry that we don't want to have new players have to conquer to be able to at least be semi-successful at a tournament.
Yep, I agree. Because you could tell. Daniel, if you're the brand new painter and I walk up and I look at your paint job, I'm going to already know you're new. And it's nothing offensive, but then I can see what you've done. I can see, oh my God, look, he's already trying to do highlights. He's already trying to do non-metallics. He's trying to do these techniques. That speaks out louder sometimes than some of other things. Like, yeah. I mean, that's just, I'm not like super feely, but I really, it's all about that stuff, like looking at things with non-bias is a big one, and knowing what techniques are and level of painting is. So
cool. But something that's exciting is that the guy that won Best Painted in Dallas, who apparently wins like every Best Painted up there, Kit Reich, who also won Best Painted at LVO, is not coming to Warzone. So that is an open category. It's going to be for everyone else who is excited about it. I know Matt Taylor's got a beautiful army. I know there's some Austin guys and San Antonio guys that have beautiful armies. And, one of our best Houston painters can't come either for James. So we'll really see. It's going to be awesome to see the level of paint for these armies, because having all those armies painted on the tabletop is just amazing.
All right. It's the last thing I'm going to hit on real quick, just to let people know. On Sunday, we are going to be doing a live feed with myself, Mr. Owens, the head guy. It's going to be John Owens, Alan Bailey, and myself Sunday, talking about some more Warzone stuff. We do got some stuff that we want to talk about. We are going to be doing a Q&A too. So if you have any questions about Warzone, AOS, Horus Heresy, 40K, catch us on Sunday. I don't know the times off the top of my head. But yeah, that will be for Sunday as well. And I think that's it for right now. So yeah.
So I know the 23rd of this month is the Austin tournament for AOS.
Sweet.
I think the 30th or the 29th is the San Antonio tournament. I don't know if Houston has any tournaments this month coming up that haven't happened already.
They've got one on the 15th at Goldmine, and then we've got one on the 23rd at Fat Ogre.
Yes.
So there's plenty of places to play this month.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are doing some prep for Warzone. I think I saw that for Austin and for Fat Ogre, I'm pretty sure.
And we're not going to tell you the missions. Don't ask. We're not telling anybody the missions.
It's Duality of Death, 3 Places of Power.
Yeah, we're just going to do Scorched Earth 6 times or 5 times.
Yeah, right. My suggestion is pick 3 of the most balanced missions and make the objectives and the tertiary as hard as you can. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But other than that, I want to say thank you, Mr. Daniel, from representing Slambo tonight. As well, I want to thank Kyle for showing up, representing Grand Alliance Houston. And the face of Warzone. So with that being said, I want to thank all the patrons that are on and supporting us with everything that they do to give us more equipment and whatnot. Again, I'm doing this for the AOS community as a whole. I'm very grateful to be part of FMP to do this. So I want to thank FMP as well for letting me take a part in doing this, my own little thing. And if anybody is interested in becoming on a live show to talk about Age of Sigmar or mostly about Age of Sigmar, please let us know. Send in a message. Let me know. We'll try to schedule something. Daniel, as well as you, let Slambo know that I'm more welcome to rotate people out as well. And same with Kyle and everybody. So
awesome.
Other than that,
thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thanks. It was great.
That's
good. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much, and you guys have yourself a great night.